Hi, I'm Kurt from Oz Armour and welcome to Workshop Wednesday. Beau got the armoured periscope covers removed from the cupola and freed up. Now they're ready to be reattached. KV-1s originally had no cupola, so the commander had serious limits on his battlefield awareness. So even though this cupola is welded and unable to open, offering another escape route for crew members, it still represents a serious improvement over the previous versions of the tank. After refitting the cleaned up armoured covers, Beau turned his attention to the business end of the vehicle. So what do you think happened to the barrel?
It blew up. Could be a few different things that happened to it. We know that they have tested firing at this on different angles, so they flipped the turret up at some point and they've shot at it directly from the top. There's a projectile hit right in the top of the mantlet, so they've either just lifted the turret up on its side and shot at it, unless they were firing mortars or something at it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but that's a pretty good shot. It's right in the middle.
Spot on, right in the middle, which tells me that they had this set up and they were pretty accurate with their shots. That could have been a wartime thing. The tank could have broken down and they didn't want the gun to be used, and the crew has done it themselves. Or it could be post-war. We're not too sure as to what's happened to it exactly, but more than likely what's happened is they've deactivated the gun by putting something in the end and then firing it. It detonates in the barrel and blows it to pieces. And also, I'm pretty sure that the gun is stuck in maybe halfway of its recoil range.
So the force of the deactivation has possibly pushed it past what it's able to recuperate on the recoil mechanism.
Possibly. It could have sent the blast back inside. It's definitely not out as far as it should be. One indicator to that is the amount of gap we have on the mantlet. It should be a bit tighter than this.
Oh, and it's not centered either.
And so the reason for it not being centered is because of the amount of damage that it's had to that one side of the turret. It's come through, it's hit the breech housing and then knocked the gun to the side. So we can't move the gun on its rail back out again because it's literally all the steel has formed and locked itself back together again.
What's going to be the plan here?
We've got to remove the end of this here. We want it to look as original as possible. It's very important, and that's the main thing that everyone looks at, is the barrel on a tank.
Definitely.
We were actually lucky enough to find a piece of barrel that is the same internal diameter as this here, and we have enough material.
Glenn was able to machine this barrel down in the lathe to match the taper of the KV-1S barrel. He also made a kind of dowel that will help locate and join the two barrels together. But the first step is to remove the banana peel.
You try that now.
Yep. Yeah. It's good. Just hit that. Oh. Nice length, Beau. Yeah, not bad, eh? You Jealous? Nice fit.
You might be wondering, if the barrels are the same caliber, then why is the dowel stepped in 2 different diameters? Well, the original barrel actually still has a slight bulge in it, even though most of the damaged parts are removed. So Glenn has had to allow for that.
That'll do, eh?
Right.
Exactly.
4 out of the 5 periscope visors remain. That just leaves Beau 1 to fabricate.
Luckily, it's not a super complex shape, so should be able to make it out of 4 pieces of flat bar and 1 piece of round bar. This is going to be our base, and then we're going to have 1 piece that tapers up like this, and then we're going to have another one that's going to go in here like this. And that's going to be the same profile as the original piece. And then this is going to be a round bar with another piece of round bar going through the middle of it so it moves. And then this is just another piece of flat bar. The only trouble is we don't have any 32 by 5, but we've got 50 by 5. So I'll just trim this back to 32 in the guillotine, and we don't have any 75 by 8. So we've got 75 by 10 here. And that 2mm is not going to make a huge amount of difference. It just means that I have to run the grinder down one of these edges a bit more. Across the width of the visor, it measures at 205mm. At 205. So that is set at 32mm, and this will be our waist.
Now, before the comments fill up asking why we didn't just cast a replacement, casting looks simple until you try it. You need a pattern, which we have. You need a mould, which we'd need to make. You'd need a furnace capable of the right temperature, which we definitely don't have. And you need to account for shrinkage as the metal cools. For a one-off part, that's a huge amount of infrastructure to spin up. Beau can fabricate a functionally identical piece from round bar and flat bar in an afternoon, and has complete control over the final measurements and the shape. The result is, visually, we achieve the same thing, but it's arguably stronger, and it means we're not waiting 6 weeks and spending a small fortune for the privilege.
I just need to put a bevel on this side here, just so it sits a little bit lower on this plate. This one needs to be trimmed as well, I think. But we can do that after it's been put on. I'll just double check the height of this. 30mm from the bottom to the top of that peak there. We'll check here for is that 30mm, and that's bang on 30.267mm. What I'm trying to do here is get this corner to touch this corner on the bottom. That way we keep the same height. That's the hardest part about this. Done. The rest of it is just more time consuming. next step is to make the hinges.
After just a short crossfade, Beau managed to partially assemble the hinge system.
Hinge here is just some 25mm round bar bored and parted off. I've just welded the right pieces onto here, and now I've got to put the back half of the visor onto here and then weld it to the opposite pieces. So that's what we're going to be doing now, and then I'll do a final weld off on these, clean it all up, and then we can fit it onto the turret. It's a bit tight, eh? To make this look like the original, basically I can't have any gap in between here. So I need to fill this all with weld and then grind it off flush. When I put that much heat into that, what's going to happen is it's going to distort the hole. It probably won't open and close. It's already tight now from the weld. I don't like using fillers, bulk and that sort of thing. I like to fill things with weld and then grind them and shape them that way. So we're just going to do that and just hope for the best. Now I've got to do that here. This one, and this one. It's going to be tricky doing these middle ones because each side I've got to be careful that I don't weld the two parts of the hinge together. Okay. The pin's still coming out. Alright, see how we go. Yeah, way too big. Alright, cool. I'm going to finish welding the actual structure up of this. Really, I should have really welded this up first before doing that. I'm just thankful that my tacks didn't break. Now what we need to do is hit the pin out, grind all the weld back and make it look like the original one. So surprisingly that pin is actually quite free, considering we just fabricated our own hinge. Now that the bulk of the grinding's done, we need to put a flat disc in the grinder and take off any sort of scarring that the grinding wheel left. Now we just need to cut this bevel on the back like we said before, just to match what the other ones have. That's not too bad.
Another turret job off the list. On to the next one.
We need to make a small hatch for the back of the turret on top. We think it's the hatch they use to remove the spent shells from the vehicle. We don't have the original one, we don't have the hinge or anything for it, so we've got to make everything from scratch. The hatch itself is tapered. We found an offcut here, yet again, from our steel supplier, so we can use this piece here to make the hatch for that. So I could bevel this with the oxy acetylene by hand. It would look pretty average then, and then I'd have to grind it all. Or what I can do is I can weld a stub off of this in the center. So I can put a bit of round bar on here, obviously a bigger diameter, weld it on, and then we can put this in the lathe, and then we can turn the taper on it in the lathe. And I think that's going to be the best option. That's going to be the best option for us, I think. Did you get that? I've got to weld this cut here up first.
itself is very satisfying.
Yeah, I mean it's not perfect, but that's because the Russians didn't make the turret properly. Just joking. No, that's perfect. Obviously this isn't staying on here, this is going to be cut off. All we need to do now with this is make a hinge up. So we've got details of the hinge now, and we can recreate that exactly how it would have been. And then that's another piece of the turret done. And then we can move on to the hatch. This has been in the background a lot. This hatch that you can see here now, the red hatch, this is not the correct hatch for here. We're not using it here. We just put it there, and I couldn't get it back off again because it weighs so much, so I've just left it there for now. Just in case someone has spotted this is not the hatch we're using. I put it there being smart, and then it got stuck and I haven't got it off yet. We will put a proper hatch here.
Unfortunately, we missed the hatch-making process, but it's more or less the same as what you've been watching all episode. Measuring, cutting, welding, shaping, it's all finally resulted in a KV-1S turret that looks miles better than when we received it. Now it's off to the sandblasters to strip away the rust and prime in red oxide. Still no sign of the wheel bearings that we need, but there's still plenty to be getting on with. If you think Beau earned it, let him know in the comments, and support the museum by liking and subscribing. And be sure to tune in next time for another tank restoration fix. So until then, I'm Kurt from Oz Armour, and I'll see you on the next one.